Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Select Persons meeting for Tuesday, June 3rd. We are in person and hybrid. We have call to order and pledge of allegiance. We'll have recognition of visitors for items not on the agenda. Tonight's agenda has managers and financial report. Under new business, we have an EMS stabilization grant acceptance, a tax settlement, a governance policy update. We need to set a public hearing for that, and a ratio factor adjustment discussion, payables, and any other business. If you could do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Rob, if you would.
Yes,
come on up.
thank you.
So Rob's here to talk about some of these things you had here on the table that didn't get onto the agenda at the end of last week before we put it out.
Yeah, so apologies about that.
No problem.
Rob Dwyer, CEDC. I think you all probably have a proposal in front of you from the newly formed 501c3 Garden Club, the Poland Garden Club. And so I'm here to ask that the select board consider approving this proposal. And really what it is it's something that the CEDC has been trying to do for the last, well, since I've been on the committee. Get someone to take care of, to replant, and then maintain all of our Welcome to Poland signs and the flowers and the growth there. I didn't put it in the package, and I should have. I have with me the last actual quote, which we considered, which was back in 2003, and I'll just pass it around, but it's for $11,900 to do the exact same thing.
2023.
2023. We've put it out for RFP to 3 to 5 firms that we've tracked down, well, like I said, for the last 3 years. Normally, we don't get any responses. This was one of the few responses we got for close to $12,000 to do. You'll see pretty much the same statement of work. And I think you know, for those of you who don't know, Garden Club, they have pretty cool aspirations, start a community garden. You can see in the proposal from them, like a lot of the labor they're willing to do for free. And in fact, you know, they wanted to spend money out of their own pockets to buy some of the plantings, which we thought was unnecessary. So, yeah, I think that's really all there is to say from the CDC part. We obviously strongly support this. It's something we've been trying to do. And I think it's a good starter project for the Garden Club to really help them get their feet under them. I can answer any questions you guys have about it if you'd like.
The only question I had, I know it was discussed with them about the watering tank, and did they come up with a solution or had any, like, how is that going to be addressed?
Yeah, I don't know what their solution is. You know, we did offer to assist. Mike, who's on our committee, obviously has a lot of experience. Didn't feel like that they would need that much of a big tank to do it, so I'm not sure how they're going to handle that at this point. I know Tarina, I think, has reached out to Matt in terms of storage. Like, those are some of the things they're still working through, but I know they have several members on the committee anxious to get started. It's the prime time to get started on these things, so, but yeah, I don't know the specifics to that question.
I think this is wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love
She's
that
amazing.
they're willing to do it, yeah.
No, I think it's great. I certainly appreciate that they've got the garden club and all that type of stuff. And my ultimate question was, is they going to be able to get started right away? And you kind of just,
Yeah, they're ready to go.
You kind of
Yeah.
just answered that.
Yeah.
So, any other comments?
Yeah, we should point out that they're asking for $3,550 to do the work, and that the dirt store has committed to donating the soil and mulch that's going to be needed for their project. It's very generous of them, and just shows good community support
Absolutely.
from a
Yeah,
local business to help the town out.
absolutely. Good point.
Thank you, Steve.
My only question is, of the watering and monitoring, $800, is that whatever the storage tank thing is that you guys need to?
Yeah, I think it's the storage tank plus the time and effort to fill it. And then,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Okay, that was-
tow it there
I
and
go
gas.
with it. And I'll point out that if people don't know it at home, there's actually 7 sites that you're going to be supporting. by this, from all the different entries of the town, so.
Yeah, and one of the things is making sure that the signs have attractive, low-level lights, that, that make them look good, but aren't like
Yeah.
awful,
Disruptive,
right, distracting.
and
Right.
disruptive to
Yeah.
wildlife.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion that we authorize the expenditure from CEDC of $3,550 to the Poland Garden Club to take care of the landscaping at the town's 7 welcoming sign locations.
I second. And I just have one more quick question.
Sure.
Thank you both.
It mentions sponsor recognition signage, just, did you?
Yeah, so we
have
talked,
any
we talked through
ideas?
that, and what I suggested and what I asked Tarina for the garden club, this time around, I think it'd be nice just to put a little plaquage or signage of some kind saying thank you to the dirt store. But what I would want to make sure is that going forward, we offer that opportunity to other businesses as well, and so she's agreed. And we initially, she had a really low budget number there for the signage, like just a little signage, and I said, let's take that up a notch so that it's reusable, and then when we do open it up to the community and other businesses, that they can do it. So we're gonna do something to the dirt store to thank them.
Wonderful. What do you?
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Sedman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawes.
Yes.
And Lisa Halvey.
Yes,
So we've approved allocating $3,550 to the Garden Club for Poland sign maintenance.
Wonderful, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much,
Facilitate it.
Rob.
Appreciate it. Good night, you too.
Two.
See you.
Now, we can move on to the manager's report on page 2.
Manager report for 3 June, MMA Executive Committee. We met with the Workers' Comp Board of Trustees, the Property and Casualty Board of Trustees, and separately with the Executive Committee. This is a review of annual audits, and we approved the contract extension for the audit firm. There's no issue with any of those audits. They're all doing quite well. BCS 6th grade community service. They came over, spread mulch, planted flowers and shrubs, and cleared trails. Old Castle was very generous and donated all the mulch. And they do that every year. They're quite generous. Auburn Lewiston Airport, we approved the acceptance of 2 grants, and the funds will be used to construct additional hangars that I've mentioned in previous reports. Stormwater project, the work is progressing. Plan to run a conduit from the garage to the library to accommodate potential future generator cable. The next step in that project is going to be to go across the road back toward the park. We've got a catch basin back there, a drainage swale, and some drainage pipe that needs to be installed. We're going to see when that gets done. Public Works Director and I were talking today, and he is looking at starting road work very soon, and that is the priority. So we'll see what's going, but they're doing a great job. Maine Waste to Energy Executive Committee, we reviewed our financial situation. We delayed a maintenance outage scheduled for September because there's not enough funds, going to be enough funds accumulated to pay for it by then. We moved that to April when there'll be just enough. The recent rate increase will keep the facility going but does not build up a reserve fund. We're looking at what additional measures can be implemented there, trying to stay ahead of that problem. The town office conference room, we installed an automatic door opener today. One of our clerks in front was talking to a customer who had some trouble getting in, and we thought this would be a good way to help them gain access to the building. We'll prop this door open, put some signs down so people know that there's an automatic door here, and hopefully that'll make it easier for folks to get in here and do business. The Black Cat Mountain timber harvest, the forester estimates that we're going to get approximately $300 in timber value for that. Two other things that I didn't put in the manager report are our congressionally directed spending request for the library was moved forward by both Senator Collins and King. It was moved forward at a $750,000 amount, not the $1.25 million we asked for, but that's okay. What I think they're doing is they're just recycling the previous grant awards to get that through the process, and we're deeply appreciative of the support from both Senator Collins and King. The other thing is it's the time of year for the town manager review. I've sent everybody an electronic copy of the form, and you have a hard copy in front of you. I would recommend that we do that at our next meeting so that Steve and Stan can participate in that. And subject to any questions, that's the manager report.
I'd just like to make a comment for the signs. You mentioned Old Castle donating the materials here. I know that the Poland Spring Resort does a lot for the town, Poland Spring Bottling does a lot.
Mhm.
And I just hope people really understand what the local businesses do. And I know there are other businesses that do stuff, but those are, I think, the four big ones that come to my mind. And you know, without their support, we wouldn't have a lot of the things that we have. And then if we did get them, they would cost us a lot more money.
Right now, we will set an executive session at the end of next meeting
Okay.
Okay,
to do the review, if that
great.
works for everybody.
Okay.
And move forward with that, so we can move on to the financial report, beginning on page 3.
That's our friend Nikki reminding me some things, which I will tell everybody right now, so that I don't forget. Just a reminder, the clerk's office is going to be closed on Tuesday, June 10th, for the elections. Code enforcement and assessing will still be open. So financial report, we're 94.23% through the year. We're doing pretty good here. If you look at revenue, we're over in motor vehicle excise, which is good. We're over by about 37,000. I'm just going to brief off the expense report summary here, because overall, we're at 91.9% expended, and we're a little over 94% through the year. There's no particular area that is a real problem. You see ball field maintenance, it's a little over, but we do that maintenance here, and it costs us just a little more than we thought, but everybody else is right on track. Got one more reporting period, but it looks like we're going to be in good shape at the end of the fiscal year. And pending any questions, that's a financial report.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept the financial report as presented.
I second.
Any discussion?
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
And Lisa Aldy.
Yes.
By a 5-0 vote, you've approved the financial report.
Okay, we can move down to this page 23 is the EMS stabilization grant.
The fire rescue chief applied for and was awarded a Maine EMS stabilization grant in the amount of $19,809.50. Grant funds will be used to help offset the cost of our new ambulances. Recommend the Maine EMS stabilization, accept the Maine EMS stabilization grant in the amount of $19,809.50.
I make a motion that we accept the grant as proposed from the Maine EMS stabilization grant in the amount of $19,809.50.
Second.
One question I have related to it is are we ultimately going to put it, is it going to sit out there by itself in our accounting, or do we end up putting it into our budget for those two items?
I'll have to check on that, because I don't think we've got the check yet. But when we do get the money, it's going to, at an appropriate time, we're going to send it to the ambulance guy. So no matter where it goes, it's going to be spent for that ambulance.
And that part of it I don't doubt. I just didn't know where we got the fiscal year changing up and doing things, if we didn't end up putting it into, thing and it came in this month.
Yeah,
then
we're
it-
okay with that because it's not raised and appropriated dollars, it's a grant.
Okay.
So we'll be
We don't need to
fine
work,
with
okay,
that.
I just didn't wanna create, all of a sudden we have timing
Jesus,
issues.
Chairman,
And what's the-
it goes in as special revenue.
What's the delivery time of the ambulances?
They've still got a couple of more years to
It's
go, it's a
still
3-year
2 years.
one. Really long lead time, and glad that Tom was on top of that and got that ordered at the appropriate time.
And on that, is that, the prices for that is locked in?
Yeah, prices are locked in.
And did we apply for, he did the work, apply for the grant because there wasn't enough in the CIP, or how did we come up with this specific
Tom's
dollar amount?
always looking around for grant money. He got some money last year that we applied to it. And this is the benefit of him being closely associated with Andrew Skog and EMA because he sits on the board that approves grants. So this wasn't one of those grants, this is a statewide grant, but he is known and has a lot of gravitas when he sends these applications in.
So we have enough in our CIPs to order?
We do.
Okay, that was my question. And I just wondered, because it's a very specific amount, how that amount was settled on.
We have no idea. I mean, it's 50 cents at the end of it. It's 809.50.
Well,
How'd they figure that
At
out?
least it's not
I was
3
just-
cents.
just wondering.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, but we couldn't figure out why they
Yeah.
picked that number.
Yeah.
So we just need to take a vote on it, right?
We do. John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Albee.
Yes.
5-0, you've approved accepting the EMS stabilization grant.
The next item is the tax settlement, beginning on page 24.
And so this is something that we need to do. I did not remember, but we do this every year. And basically, the tax collector needs to do a certificate of settlement to formally account for the property taxes they have collected and the disposition of those taxes. This process is crucial for maintaining transparency and accountability in the collection of municipal revenue. It's necessary to provide a record of settlement. The document acts as a formal record of the tax collector's settlement with the municipality, signifying the completion of their duty for a specific tax year and what funds have been transferred over to the treasurer for collection. So basically it goes from Judy, the tax collector, over to me for collection and people that have liens on their property.
So this is a non-payment of taxes?
Yeah, standard stuff, but most people will eventually come around and pay. We just need to, there's two documents that I'll ask you to sign.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is that there's two different ones, 2 different years, basically. So there's 2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
So we should do a
And I
motion
think
to pay
if
for
we-
each one.
If we just say that the 2022 one and the amount of $4,064.92, then we can do a separate one for the other one, that will get us through that.
So these are liens that are going against these folks on the property thing?
Yes,
Okay.
eventually.
So,
I have
Yeah,
no
I-
idea how to word this one.
so
Can I word the motion, or
Yes,
someone just
please,
say?
and I can learn.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we do a certificate of settlement for tax year 2022 in the amount of $4,064.92.
So moved.
Seconded.
Hi, Nikki.
okay,
I
any
hope you're
discussion?
feeling better.
Hearing none, we can vote.
John DeSantis?
Yes.
Stan Tedman?
Yes.
Steve Robinson?
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks?
Yes.
Lisa Albee?
Yes.
Okay, 5-0, you've done the 22 assessment. And vote for a certificate of settlement for tax year 2023 in the amount of $1,837.39.
So moved.
Okay, great, thank you.
I second.
Anyone? John DeSantis?
Yes.
Stan Teten?
Yes.
Steve Robinson?
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks?
Yes.
Lisa Albee?
Yes.
5-0, we've done the 2023 tax certificate of settlement. Thanks for going through that one. So we've done that. Okay.
It's just a copy.
Ooh, excuse me.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is we need to do an update of our governance policy.
Yeah, so I can talk through that. There are a couple of things that I wanted to propose, two changes. One, I noticed that the language for what you can do at a special or emergency meeting of any board and committee wasn't as concrete as I think we'd like it to be. Folks are just trying to do things, and we want to make it easier for people to follow the rules, so I would include language in there that just says it's not just the select board, but all other boards and committees. If you're going to have a special meeting or an emergency meeting, you can only address the issue that brings you to that meeting, and that's just good governance. And the other one that I would propose is that if you're on a board or committee, that you can't receive any monetary award for something you're doing. And I'll include language in that, and that might be a point of discussion at the public hearing, and if we want to modify that at all, we can. But what I propose is that we set the date of the public hearing for June 17th at the next select board meeting.
I'll entertain a motion to do that.
So moved.
Second.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tentman.
Yes. Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Albee.
Yes.
So we'll do the public hearing for the governance policy at the next meeting. 8:31.
Great. Next one is on page 31. It's the ratio factor adjustment.
And so I won't read the entire memo here. Nikki was kind enough to prepare that because we wanted to give people some information on what it means when we adjust the certified ratio. But right now, we are below the 70% threshold. I think we're right around 60%. And you can add another 10% to that, which will bring us up to 66, so we're low. We want to bring that ratio up. The reason we want to bring it up, it means that we can collect more money from the state for Betty and Better, and then homestead reimbursement. So that's why that's important, to make sure that certified ratio is up there. There's an example in the memo that shows how this doesn't affect how much taxes you pay. We're not changing the budget that people will be voting on. It's just how that how those taxes are proportioned throughout the town. And I'd like to get the okay to have our assessor move forward to start to work on that, because we commit taxes in August. And I don't think we have a couple of new folks coming on the board in July, and that'll be great. But my hope is that if we can move forward and tell our assessor to start working on this, gives him more time to do it, and we can have a better product. And if we need to, we can get him to come at the next meeting to have a little more detailed explanation of what he's going to do, if that's okay.
So for some of you folks, we did this, it's going to be now 2 years ago. And we knew then that we would probably be in the boat to do it again in 2 years, with the anticipation of 2 years from now having the reevaluation in place. So it was rather interesting to me that in the 2 years we've fallen again from nearly 90% back to 60%. So you think the economy or whatever, but the value of every properties and the sales seem to be, according to the state, headed that way, so. So I guess at this point, we want to just put it as an agenda item.
For the next meeting,
For
and
the
I'll,
next meeting,
yeah,
and try to lock it down.
yeah, what I wanna do is have Rob come in, because a lot of people don't understand how this works. I think giving people a couple of chances to, absorb this information, have the assessor in here talking about it. The actual mechanics of doing it, we walked it through with the assessor that was here the other day, and it's not that involved because we would recommend that we make the same change for every property, that there's no difference. And so there's just a couple of menu items in the TRIO program that have to be changed. So it's not, days and days of going through each individual record. So we'll get him in here next time and have a chat in more detail about it if that's what the board wants.
This changes both on residential and commercial.
Yes.
Yeah, and the only comment that I have is that last time, we kind of went back and forth a few times to try to get ourselves settled on making sure that the direction we wanted to give is that it was all of the above and every
Yeah.
one, and that there was no exceptions to the change to the amount or to anything, so that things were the same ratio to each other and all those types of things,
So
so,
it maintained everybody's taxes
yeah,
at the current level.
right.
Sorry, I have a couple comments. So one, I actually was in, because I was brand new to the select board. It was a lot of information, a lot to
Yeah.
digest, and I would love it if we could invite, I know that they don't start technically until July, but the 2 new select board members, it'd be great if they could participate in that.
Yeah.
So they can absorb some
Sit
of
in
that
and listen.
information, because they're gonna have to be the ones to make some decisions on how that's done. The other thing is, I remember this was a big sticking point last time. I know that there were some concerns by Rob about doing this, only because property values on the commercial side have not gone up at the same rate. And when we do our actual full reevaluation in the town, we may see a shift. And I've sort of been warning people that we may see a shift in, that might be more than what they're expecting. Some property values are gonna go up significantly, some are gonna go down, so you'll have some people that will actually pay significantly more and some people that may even pay less potentially when
Yeah.
everything's righted.
I-
So
I-
I know there was some concern, especially around in the commercial property, just because like the market, you, especially since COVID, residential property values skyrocketed and commercial properties didn't see the same.
Yeah.
So that's just something to kind of think about, because it will be righted when we do our
Mhm.
full town evaluation.
Yeah, I think that's when we have Rob come in next time, that'll be a great
Yeah.
opportunity to talk through that.
Because I think what we decided, this was a good stopgap measure to ensure that everyone's taxes went up the same rate this go around.
Mhm.
But it's just something to be aware of. I've been trying to have those conversations because I know,
Yeah, so everybody's evaluations goes up the same amount.
right,
What-
which means the real
Whether the
rate,
taxes go up or not is only
Yeah.
based upon the need of expenses, to
Right.
meet expenses and any increase in expenses, which unfortunately we discovered less, but in itself, it just means that mill rate would drop by 20% if you were trying to raise the same dollars. So
Yeah.
any increase in people's taxes is only because we're expending more money
Correct.
as a whole
Now-
town, between school and town and county and the like.
I always thought it was also interesting, and I don't know if you have additional insight into this, but the state of Maine seems to know what our town is worth. Like, they're telling us it's worth X. How do they get that, and are
Through
are
real
they?
estate data.
So does Rob have access to that data?
Mhm.
Can he, and is it
It's all
by
public.
property?
Gee, I don't know, I think it would be, because you have to have a total. But we can ask Rob that question at the next meeting as well. We can tell us all about that.
Yeah, I mean, last time we did ultimately we had all kinds of data. Nikki boiled some of the data down, showing the top 10, up, top 10 down, whatever, impact type of things and whatever. So I would hope and expect that by the time this ever gets to that point, that it does that. But this is kind of just step one. Next
Right.
meeting will be step two. Maybe it means something that we'll do as a board to say, this is the expectation, and be specific about what our expectations are around what's gonna happen or whatever and do, and then but the actual execution of it will be on the new board, so. So it will just be to do that, but
Now,
we
when
certainly,
we do
like you
our,
noted, some of
Yeah.
us have had the experience of it, so it's helpful.
when we do a full revaluation in our town, does that data get sent to the state, or is that for our own assessment?
No, that would also
purposes?
go to the state. It would.
So we would be synced up, basically.
Yeah.
That way.
Those are great questions, but I think, I'm reluctant to get too deep into an answer because I'll probably stray out of the depth of my knowledge pretty quick on it. And what I'd recommend is, just hold those questions when we get Rob here the next time, that we could have a chat with him about that and have a deeper understanding of those questions, which are good ones to ask, because I think you're probably not the only person in town that's interested in the answer, so.
Yeah, every year, just to answer, Rob is required to send what he totals up the town to be and stuff, and go send it in a report to the state, so that's part of the equation. I don't know that it's all of the equation, so. Okay, so I think that's, we don't need any motion tonight, we don't
We'll
need
get him in
anything.
here
It's
next
just
week, his next
discussion that
meeting.
it'll be an agenda item, so
Perfect.
next week we'll be busy, because we'll have a public hearing, we'll have this discussion, and a executive session for the review, at least at the end, at this point in time, so. Okay. Back to the agenda here, and we can actually move on to payables.
Make a motion that we pay our bills for fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $371,725.19.
Second that?
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tentman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawes.
Yes.
And Lisa Aldridge.
Yes.
So the payables passed 5-0.
Okay, I will start that down so we can actually move on to any other business.
No, just remember everybody get out and vote.
Yeah, that's next Tuesday. I'd just like to remind everybody that from the Poland Spring Preservation Society, we have a summer concert series. And I was just reminded, it actually starts next Monday night. Monday nights at 6:30. The first three are being held at the All Souls Chapel. And the first one, I'd like to see a really good turnout, because we have the Poland Regional High School. I believe it's a jazz band and an a cappella group that are coming in. And these kids are always wonderful, and it'd be great to, show the kids support. I believe that's a free concert, so show up.
Great, I got a couple of items, they're somewhat calendar related. So yes, we have our town meeting referendum and RSU budget vote. Next week on the 10th, polls are 8 to 8. So I'd like to get people to turn out. My wife and I actually voted absentee at the end of last week, and you can get absentee and do absentee through this Thursday. So if anybody needs to do an absentee, it has to be done by this Thursday.
Okay.
To come in and do that. We came in person and sat in here and did our vote or whatever. That's all I guess I have related to that.
just today, save the date went out for our summer business after hours. This is put on by the Poland Community Economic and Development Council. This will be held at the Main State Building on June 23rd at 5:30.
Was it
So,
gonna be?
and it's a business after hours, at the Main State Building.
Thanks.
Can you say the time again?
Sorry.
Time again?
It's Monday, June 23rd at 5:30. You're all invited.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Lisa?
I do not have anything.
Matt, anything further? So I think that's, again, just a reminder to get out for the town meeting vote. And, vote for people that are running for office as you wish. And polls are 8 to 8. And with that, because of that vote or whatever, the clerk's office will be not available on Tuesday, the 10th. They'll be supporting the election. So the rest of the town services will be available, but the clerk's office will be closed.
See you at the polls.
With that, we do have an executive session to do this evening?
Motion to go into executive session
Yes.
or a personnel matter.
So moved.
Second.
At 7:37.
So we will not come back onto live session from that, so everybody have a great evening, enjoy the
Have to take a vote on
summer weather, so vote.
John DeSantis?
Yes.
Stan Tedman?
Yes.
Steve Robinson?
Yes.
Marion Hawes?
Yes.
Lisa Albee?
Yes.
Okay, so we are now in executive session.
it. Night, everyone.
Good night.